Welcome back to the West Georgia Gridiron podcast. I'm your host, Mason Taylor, and as always, I'm joined by my father, my co-host, my producer, Mark Taylor, and this is week 7 of our warm-up.
We're halfway there. If you make it to the championship at the end of this road for this season, then you're halfway there. I hope that everybody makes it. Not sure that everybody will, but I'm glad to be back with you guys. If you're tuning in for the first time, you can listen to us on audio on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can watch us on our YouTube channel, all at the West Georgia Gridiron, and that's West GA Gridiron on our socials. So, Mason, we've got, I think, this is Hoko week for a couple people, right?
Yeah, for Bowden and Rica.
Bowden, Rica, all right. Well, what's ahead in this show is our fan zone, of course, game of the week, Mason's matchups, that's his predictions, previews, and then we do have a surprise guest that we kind of want to give you a peek at. Mason, I think for these guys right here, this is credit to Brian Carmichael. He's actually known as the Photo Guy BC, of course, on social media. You can find him on Instagram and other places, Facebook, of course. But future playmakers, he took these photos. So I thought maybe we'd share a couple of these. Look at this little guy. We'll start to the left, number 3 right here. That could be the next Cam Wood right there. I don't know. Look at the second one to the left. Mason, that guy is looks like a Big Mike from way back when you guys were starting. And then you've got the one with the red there, third from the left. I don't know that he's got a chance against those guys. Man, he needs to bulk up a little bit. More nuggets from Chick-fil-A. That's a shout out to David Daniel. And what about this second to the right though? Who's future what? Who is that?
Future Ryan Mosley right there.
Future Ryan Mosley. That's an honor. And then the last one to the far right. Future what? Future who?
Zakai Helton.
Helton. Let's go. Well, man, we're going to tag them so that make sure they see this because that's an honor. That's pretty cool. All right, GPB Sports Game of the Week. They always have one to watch on TV, one to watch on stream. Mason, introduce these two.
So the first game that's being streamed, Hateville Charter at Carver, Atlanta. Both of these teams are in 2A. Carver, you could argue, other than the other Carver Columbus, who won state last year, you could argue that they're the best team other than Carver Columbus in 2A. Obviously, Hateville Charter, Carrollton had their scrimmage against Hateville Charter, and Hateville Charter looked pretty decent against Carrollton. Whether that was Carrollton making them look good or Hateville Charter just making themselves look good, but that should be a pretty good game. I don't see Hateville Charter winning it, especially since they're on the road, but I do think that'll be a really good game. And the other one, Noonan at Langston Hughes. Langston Hughes, obviously, other than Thomas County Central, you could argue they're the best team in 5A. Noonan, one of those teams this year that, they beat East Coweta in a big shootout for the first time in years. They did lose to Northgate, though, so they're 4-1. They're going on the road in a region game to take on Langston Hughes. That should be a good one, but again, I don't see any universe where Noonan wins that game. I think Langston Hughes should handle them pretty easily. But again, it'll be a good game, and if you ever want to go back and watch it, you can always go back on the GPB Sports app or their YouTube channel, and they always have the game there. But yeah, I mean, I'm probably not going to watch them or pay any attention to them, but I'll definitely check out the score after the game.
Yeah, well, we appreciate GPP Sports for making that available.
I will say, though, I do wish that some of these South Georgia teams, and I'm not trying to say that they get, ignored, but, Lee County plays Thomas County Central in a region game. That is a top 10 matchup right there.
Agreed.
You have Valdosta who takes on Camden County. That's a top 10 matchup. You have Colquitt County taking on Lowndes, top 10 matchup. Benedictine taking on, I believe, Ware County, top 10 matchup. Like, I don't know why Noonan and Langston Hughes was the one, because all those games I just mentioned, I would rather see than that game. But I don't know if it's a money thing. Maybe it's just because it's closer to Atlanta. I don't know. Maybe they just don't want to keep putting the same teams on air. I'm not sure, but I do wish that we would see some actual competitive games, because last week they put it on Benedictine and Westminster, and Benedictine beat them like 50-7.
Well, I'm sure it requires
North Cobb. Nobody wants to watch that.
I'm sure it requires a road crew and to travel like that. Hire Mason; he'll get a crew together for you. He'll go on the road. Game of the week for you, though. Bremen Blue Devils, Temple Tigers.
Yes, it's pretty big implications here. Temple obviously just coming off of a pretty bad loss, their first loss of the year. This is a region game, so if Temple loses, they're on the road, by the way, too. If they were to lose, they would fall. They would get their second straight loss, and they would also be 0-2 in a very tough region. Bremen coming off a pretty dominant win, they're feeling confident. Obviously, they don't have their star player Justin Faulkner, but coming off of a 42-7 win, they're 1-0 in region play. They're 3-2 on the year, so they're looking, and they have home field advantage, so they're looking to get one past Temple, go 2-0 in region, and for Temple, this is one of those games that I feel like you have to win.
Yeah, get out, fans, and impact the stands. That almost rhymes, by the way. But get out and support these two teams and your schools, your programs. The band's going to be playing loud. Cheerleaders are going to be doing their thing to get you going. So if you're in the area and you want to attend those, please do, because they're going to need all the support they can get. All right, Mason's matchups for this week, your previews and your predictions. And like I said, I think we've got two that are homecoming.
Yeah, we'll actually start off with the first homecoming game. This is going to be the Bowdon Red Devils hosting Booker T. Washington. I'm not sure what their logo is. I mean, their mascot. They might be the Eagles. But this is only the second meeting between these two teams. Last year was the first. Bowdon beat them last year 42-18, so it wasn't close. But Booker T. Washington, according to Max Preps, is the number 13 team in Alabama 4A. So, they're a top 15 team in 4A. Now, take that with a grain of salt because, again, Alabama, their classes are not the same as Georgia. Also, like a 4A school there is not as large as a 4A school here because of population density. But, again, number 13 team in 4A in Alabama. Start off with Booker T. Washington. Their keys to success. Number one is going to get Marquez Daniel and get him the ball in space. Now, if you don't know who Marquez Daniel is, he's 6'6". He's 195 pounds. He's a 4-star senior wide receiver. He's committed to Florida. And to be honest, he's their biggest mismatch on the field. He's like their Caden Prothro. So whether he's lining up outside or whether he's lining up in the slot, whether he's taking jet sweeps, he's got to touch the ball anywhere from 15 to 20 times at least to keep pressure on Bowden's defense. Now, at the same time, Bowden might shut that down, and then now they're going to have to rely on somebody else. So we'll see how that goes. Number two is going to have some run game balance. Dylan Purder, this is their 4-star senior defensive back who's committed to LSU.
Yes, sir.
He plays both sides of the ball, though. This year so far, he has 42 carries for 266 yards. He also got another running back, Jaden Woods. Those two provide a ground threat that can really keep Bowden's pass rush honest. So sustaining drives with the run will help protect their defense from wearing down. Thirdly, it's going to be quarterback efficiency. Jeremiah Kitt, their starting quarterback. You also have their backup quarterback, Micah Bedgood. Both of those guys, I don't know if both of them will play, but definitely Jeremiah Kitt. They can't be they don't need to be spectacular. They just need to avoid turnovers. Bowden thrives on defensive scores, whether that's pick sixes, scooping scores, whatever. So any giveaways could swing the game out of reach. And then lastly will be tackling. Hopkins and Bowden skill players thrive on yards after contact. So the Booker T. Washington secondary guys like Cameron Cole, Jerome Jones, obviously Dylan Purder, who we already mentioned, the 4-star. Those guys got to wrap up and limit extra yards. For Bowden, the first key to success is going to be to control the game with quarterback Josh Hopkins. Hopkins is the engine. His dual threat ability makes him hard to contain this season. He has 725 passing yards, 536 rushing yards, 18 total touchdowns, and I believe that's only in 5 games. So Bowden's offense becomes nearly unstoppable when he gets in rhythm, so keeping him upright behind that big offensive line is essential. Secondly, exploit size mismatches. Obviously, Caden Prothro, their big 6'6", 210-pound, 5-star senior tight end. He's going to be tough for Booker T. Washington's defensive backs to match up with, especially in red zone situations. So mixing in Keelan Prothro, I don't know if they're related, and Berkeley Perkins, those two guys as secondary options offensively, will spread the defense thin. Thirdly is going to be some defensive pressure. Bowden's front, you got Marcus Harper, Jackson Jones, Jonah Wilson. Those guys got to win in the trenches and disrupt Booker T. Washington's quarterback. So forcing Jeremiah Kitt into hurried throws will limit the passing game and then limit big plays in general. Marquez Daniel, who we've already mentioned, he's like a wide receiver running back hybrid, but he's the most dynamic weapon for them. So if Bowden can contain him, no breakaway runs or jump ball touchdowns will occur, and the game will tilt strongly in Bowden's favor. Some other factors to take into account, obviously depth in trenches, Bowden's depth in the trenches, and senior leadership obviously give him a clear edge here. So Booker T. Washington will have to play near perfect to keep it close in the second half. So you also have some momentum swings. Bowden's defense has multiple non-offensive touchdowns this year, including pick sixes, scooping scores. So if they can get another one in this game, it could be the backbreaker. And then also some intangibles. Both teams have athletic playmakers, but Bowden's experience combined with home field advantage is a major separator. So with that being said, I have Bowden winning 35-21.
Mason, I don't even know if this is the right time to ask this question, but is Prothro maybe – do you feel like he's been challenged enough with these previous games that with Booker T. Washington coming in, is that going to be the first real matchup that he has on defending him? That's hard to defend at 6'6". I don't know that they've had any teams really that's been an issue for them. I mean, throw it up, I'll get it. But what is this going to be different in this game?
Do you mean like so far this season?
Yeah, so
or
far
in
this
his career?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in his career, obviously, he's faced guys from
Right.
Manchester and Brooks County and all these other
Yeah,
schools.
just up to this point.
But up to this point this season, I do feel like, other than maybe Fellowship Christian, but I feel like, yeah, this will probably, if he goes one-on-one with Dylan Purder, that will be his first true, that'll be his hardest tests yet, if he goes one-on-one with them. If he's not going against them, then it's not going to matter.
They may be double teaming him. I mean, he's committed to Georgia. Georgia's seen something in him, obviously, that they know he has the talent. So I don't think it's just, hey, once you start putting another talent on the defensive side of it, that it's just going to fall apart. But, man, that's going to be fun. So, and I think we're going to be at that game. So we'll bring you back some great action.
Yep. So the next game, we have the Bremen Blue Devils. This is the game, my game of the week, the Bremen Blue Devils hosting the Temple Tigers. This is the 23rd meeting between these two teams. Bremen has dominated Temple all time. They lead 19-3. Temple won it last year, though. They did win 34-18 last year. And last year's win for Temple ended a 17-game losing streak to Bremen. But before that, Temple had not beaten Bremen since 1997. So Bremen hasn't, but Bremen also has not beaten Temple since 2021. So this is Bremen trying to beat Temple for the first time in 3 or 4 years. Temple obviously trying to go back to back and kind of start trying to chip away at that all-time leading record of Bremen. But we'll start off with Temple. First key to success is going to be to ride the ground game. Obviously, Temple's identity is built on JoJo Jones and Jaden McDaniel. JoJo Jones so far this season, 650 rushing yards, 12 rushing touchdowns in just 5 games. Jaden McDaniel, 405 rushing yards, 6 rushing touchdowns in the same amount. So if they can control tempo with the run and keep Bremen's offense off the field, they'll have a shot to grind out a win. Number 2 is mix in some explosives. While the run is their bread and butter, Temple does have a few playmakers, guys like Brian Bowman, Preston Griffin, Isaiah Montgomery. So those guys, they can strike on trick plays or deep passes, so using them strategically could swing momentum. Thirdly is going to be defensive front disruption. Temple's front 7, guys like Jack Jordan, Hudson Nix, Corday Patterson, TJ Young. I could keep going, but I'm not going to. Those guys got to pressure Eli Brock and Clog Lane. So if Bremen's offensive line dictates the game, Temple's defense could wear down quickly. And then lastly, they got to win the physicality battle. With size on both lines, Temple has to use its senior heavy group to establish toughness early. And I do think Temple does have the size advantage on both the offensive and defensive line. Bremen, their first key to success is to establish Eli Brock's rhythm. With Justin Faulkner obviously sidelined, Brock will need to spread the ball around and rely on his line to give him time. So if he's steady, Bremen can move the chains and keep Temple chasing. Secondly, is going to be lean on the defense. Bremen's linebacking core of Chase Palmer and Ryder Haynes, along with some other guys, those guys got to be disciplined against Temple's option looks and misdirection. Keying on JoJo Jones is obviously priority number 1. Thirdly, special teams edge. Carter Allen, obviously top 10 punter in the country, for the class of 2027. He could quietly be a difference maker, so field position may matter in a close run-heavy game. So pinning Temple deep can tilt momentum. And lastly, have a next man up mentality. Losing Faulkner obviously hurts, but Bremen has other athletes like Jay-Sean Jones and Tavares Bexley who need to step up, and they did step up in that game against Model. And again, if they played Model already, so they're already one game in without him, and they played majority of that Raven County game without him. So I think by now they should have it kind of down packed how to adjust without Justin Faulkner there. But again, if Bremen can find and use 2 to 3 reliable playmakers on offense, they'll have some balance. Some other factors to take into account: tempo versus structure. Temple will want a slugfest with long drives and anywhere from 25 to 30 carries between Jones and McDaniel. So Bremen will look to play more balanced and force Temple out of its comfort zone. Also, a turnover margin. Temple has been opportunistic with interceptions. Guys like Jaden McDaniel, Brian Bowman, Isaiah Montgomery have been ball hawks this season. So if those guys can get a takeaway or two, they could steal momentum on the road. And then attrition. Both squads have size, but Temple's depth on defense is thinner. If Bremen wears them down with their offensive line, the fourth quarter favors the Blue Devils. So with that being said, I have the Bremen Blue Devils getting the 6-point victory at home, 32-26.
All right. Well, Temple, you've got to have this one. Well, we were at that Model Bremen game, and we got to see the kicker. I mean, that's some beautiful kicking. So if it comes down to kicking a long field goal or those extra points, that's going to be special teams could be the deciding factor if it's close enough. And then we've got Carrollton a bye week, so we'll head on to Central.
Yep, Central, they're going on the road Thursday to take on Jonesboro. I mean, this is essentially going to be for the region championship. Essentially, whoever wins this game is most likely going to finish first in region. But this is only the second meeting ever between the Central Lions and the Jonesboro Cardinals. Last year was the first ever meeting, and it was because of region play that they actually played. So who knows if they would have ever played if they were not in each other's region. But Central did get the win last year at home, 31-23. Last year, Jonesboro ended up beating Stars Mill, which helped Central win the region championship. So, Jonesboro did a big one for Central last year. I don't know if they were really meaning to.
I don't think Central wanted that matchup again with Stars Mill.
Well, Stars Mill hasn't won a game this year.
Ooh, so, different Stars Mill?
Oh, yeah, for sure. But this is a matchup between the number 7 Central Lions against the number 14 Jonesboro Cardinals. So, top 15 matchup here in 4A. And again, likely for the region championship. But first for Central, we'll start off with Central. First key to success, obviously feed the Walton brothers. Jonas Walton, he's a proven star. So far this season, he has 614 total yards, 9 total touchdowns in just 5 games. His younger brother, Jace Walton, he's an emerging power runner. So keeping them heavily involved forces Jonesboro to load the box and open passing lane. Secondly, you got to let J.R. Harris cook. Harris has been surgical. He has 985 passing yards this season, 14 passing touchdowns to just 1 interception. So if he can continue his efficiency while spreading the ball to Alanson Simmons, Jake Ivester, and Avery Tanner among some other guys, Central can really attack Jonesboro's secondary, who has 2 4-star elite defensive backs. Thirdly, defensive playmakers need to step up. Tyson Rochester, so far this season, he has 28 tackles, 5 tackles for loss. He also got guys like Jarrell Long, and they also have a young defensive line. So that young defensive line rotation and those 2 guys, they got to put the quarterback Sharp under pressure. So forcing Jonesboro into long third downs could flip field position. And then lastly, special teams X factor. Jake Davis, the Central Lions kicker, he actually transferred in from Chapel Hill, so we played him last year. I didn't even know it. But he's been near perfect. He's 29 for 31 on PATs, 3 for 3 on field goals. He's kicked 16 touchbacks on kickoffs. So in a close game, his ability to guarantee points and control field position could be decisive for the Lions. For Jonesboro, number 1 is going to be leverage star power in the secondary. Obviously, Jontavius Wyman and Cortez Redding, both 4-star senior Miami commits. Those guys patrolling the back end. Jonesboro has to limit Central's explosive passing game. So if they can take away J.R. Harris's top options, they'll force Central to grind it out. Secondly, establish offensive balance. Quarterback Ethan Sharp has big targets in Frank Jackson and Jadarius Slayton. Frank Jackson is 6'4", Slayton is 6'3". So pairing that with a three-headed backfield in Nicoya Govan, Lucius Murray, and Isaiah Davis, they can keep Central's linebackers stretched thin. Thirdly, they got to win in the trenches with the offensive line leader Quadre Barnes Jr. You have this leader of the defensive line, Michael McGee. Jonesboro has size to push Central around, so if they can dominate the line of scrimmage, they can control the tempo. And then lastly, defensive containment. Central's running back duo can wear down a defense, so Jonesboro's linebackers, Jeremiah Collier, he's a 3-star senior. You have Jalen McWilson, also Mark Manigault. So those guys got to be disciplined in gap control and just avoid giving up chunk runs. Some other factors, star versus depth. Jonesboro has more high-profile talent, but Central has balanced depth and a rhythm on offense. You have a quarterback matchup, Sharp, the quarterback for Jonesboro. He has the size and arm, but Harris has been more consistent statistically. So whichever quarterback avoids mistakes likely decides the outcome. I think Sharp is like 6'4", 200 pounds, so he's a big boy.
Man.
And then big play prevention. Both teams have athletes capable of flipping momentum in one play, so Central has to limit deep passes to Jackson and Slayton, while Jonesboro, they got to stop Jonas Walton from breaking free on screens or draws. So with that being said, I have this being a 4-point game. Give me the Central Lions on the road, 30-26.
Wow. Why 4 points?
Well, I think.
Why do you think it's been that tight?
What?
Why do you think it would be that tight?
That type of game? Because I think Jonesboro's offense is good. I think they do have obviously that three-headed monster in the backfield. They have good running backs. They have a good quarterback. But defensively, obviously, I think they will give Central a harder time throwing the ball than they've seen all year. So I think with that, they're going to have to rely more on Jonas and Jace, and we'll see how that goes. But I do think Central does just enough to win the game, but I do think it will be a close, like, Oxford-type game here.
And there's plenty of seating in that place.
Yes, there is.
Do you think that it'll be full?
No.
No?
Maybe
Central will show up.
Central will show up, but I don't know if even all their fans will fill it up.
Yeah. And then Haralson County, we've got two local teams, again, playing each other. This should be a good one, too. Haralson County and Hurd County.
Yep, this is the 8th meeting between the Rebels and the Braves. Haralson County actually leads the series 4-3. So if Hurd were to win this game, they'd tie the series all-time 4-4. But Hurd County did dominantly win last year, 49-15 at home. Haralson County, they haven't beaten Hurd County since their 2021 region championship season. Also the best season in Haralson County history, which Haralson County is right now probably on pace to match that, if not beat that record. But first key to success here, and then again, this is a region game, same region as Bremen and Temple, so this is a very important game. Haralson County, they're 1-0 in region play after that dominant win against Darlington. Hurd County, they're coming off a bye week, so they haven't played region yet. This is their first region game, and they're on the road. But we'll start off with Hurd County. Their first key to success is going to keep Ethan Tisdale rolling. He's been the engine of the offense. He has 617 passing yards, 9 touchdowns, plus 324 rushing yards, and 7 rushing touchdowns in just 4 games. So his dual threat ability can stress Haralson County's defense. Keeping him protected and letting him make plays will be key. Also, next man up at wide receiver, obviously Brody Buck Cofield. He is was sidelined for that Bowden game as well. So Zayden Moreland, Trip Kerbo, guys like that, they got to step up as reliable targets. I think the run game with Darius Coleman can also take pressure off the passing game. Darius Coleman, the running back, has 415 rushing yards and 5 rushing touchdowns so far this season. Also, they got to win in the trenches defensively. The Braves' defensive front, guys like Max Lassiter, Jackson White, Logan Palmer, they have been disruptive. They've racked up TFLs and sacks this season. Just ask Bowden. So they'll need to control the line against Harrelson's big offensive line and physical run game. And then lastly, they got to stay disciplined. Harrelson wants to drag teams into a low-scoring, grinded-out type of game. So I think if Hurd keeps mistakes minimal and avoids turnovers, they'll control tempo. For Haralson County, they got to lean on the offensive line. Harrelson has size and toughness in the trenches, so controlling the line of scrimmage and keeping Hurd's defensive front from wrecking plays is crucial. Secondly, they got to establish the run. Branson Williams at running back, Paxton Ray managing at quarterback, Rebels need long, time-consuming drives, so this limits Tisdale's possessions, and it also keeps the game close. Thirdly, they got to have their secondary step up. Hurd County's receivers are explosive even without Cofield. Harrelson's defensive back, guys like Junior Hudson, Cohen Sanalyuk, and Joel McCoy. Those guys got to prevent deep plays and force Tisdale to take shorter gains. And then lastly, special teams and field position. In a game where Hurd has more offensive firepower, Harrelson needs to win the hidden yardage battle and possibly create a momentum-shifting play on special teams. And obviously, when you have a guy like Kent Boyd, it's pretty easy to do that in the return game especially. Some additional thoughts. Star power versus physicality. Hurd County has the superior playmakers, especially at quarterback with Tisdale, while Harrelson counters with size and toughness in the trenches. Injuries matter. Cofield being out hurts Hurd's explosiveness, but they still have depth at skill positions. And then also a momentum factor. Harrelson's season has been, I would say it's been tough at times, but I would say it's also been pretty easy at times. But rivalry type games like this can bring out their best effort. So if they can keep it within one possession in the fourth quarter, the pressure definitely shifts to Hurd County. With that being said, I think a lot of people are going to look at this two ways. I think you're either going to think that this is going to be a blowout Hurd County win, or you're going to look at this as Hurd County's still going to win, but it's going to be pretty close. And I don't know. Harrelson had a close one against Putnam County, but Putnam County is not Hurd County. Hurd County is way better than Putnam County. So I don't know. I kind of wrestled with what I should decide, but I did decide on something. I do have Hurd County winning, but I only have Hurd County winning 30-24, only 6 points on the road at Haralson County. And I know a lot of people are gonna question that. They're gonna, I don't know, they're gonna question it. They might think that Hurd County is gonna blow them out. I'm not sure.
I think we just lost half of our viewers.
Well, we'll see what happens Friday, but I do think Haralson County has the potential to really keep this game close, especially since Hurd County's on the road off of a bye week and they're missing their best wide receiver.
Yes. Yeah, on the road to Harrelson. Well, hosting is Mount Zion.
Yeah, this is Mount Zion's first region game of the year. They're at home against Greenville. This is the 8th meeting between the Patriots.
This could be a sleeper game.
Yeah, I think it could. I think you're right on the money with that. Greenville leads the series all time 5-2, so it's been all Greenville in the past. Greenville did win it last year 37-35. And that win, that 2-point victory at home for them, helped Greenville clinch a playoff spot. So they got the 4 seed in the region because there's only 5 teams in that region. So last year when Greenville beat Mount Zion, that made Mount Zion be the 5th seed and gave Greenville the 4th seed. So this game likely, I think, will have the same implication. I think this is for the 4 seed unless one of these teams were to upset a Tryon or Manchester or Bowden somehow. I don't think that'll happen. So this is likely for the 4 seed in that region to clinch the playoffs. So whoever loses will likely not make the playoff.
That's right.
And but Mount Zion, they didn't win last year, but they did win the year before that. So this has been a pretty competitive series between the Patriots and the Eagles. We'll start off with Greenville. The first key to success for them is going to be Ride Marquell Deering. Marquell Deering has 807 rushing yards this season, 7 rushing touchdowns in just 4 games. So he is the heart of the Greenville offense. I think if he can get 20-plus touches and establish dominance early, I think it opens up the QB run game and also opens up play action. Secondly, he's going to be protect the freshman quarterback. Yes, you heard me right. They do have a freshman quarterback, Zayden Kelly. He's thrown for 304 yards this season, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He also has 236 rushing yards, again, in just 4 games. So he's shown flashes, but turnovers can swing the game. So keeping him in manageable down and distance situations will be key. Also, they got to win the defensive battle up front. Braylon Welch and Tay Garza, they got to anchor the defensive line against Mount Zion's run-heavy style. Greenville cannot afford to get pushed around in the trenches. And Braylon Welch, I like him a lot. He's kind of like a fullback, but he also plays linebacker, but he's mainly a defensive tackle. I believe he's like 5'11", about 300 pounds. He's a big old boy. And to be honest with you, I think Braylon Welch is one of the best defensive linemen in 1A Division II. And I think his stats speak for himself. So Mount Zion has their hands full with Bray Welch.
Yeah.
And then lastly for Greenville, they got to limit big plays in the secondary. Jameer Smith, Sean Moreland, they have 4 interceptions combined. So they're patrolling the back end, and Greenville needs turnovers to shorten the field and keep it close. And those are the guys they're going to look to do that. Mount Zion, their first key to success is going to be to establish the run game early. With backs like Damian Sanders, Rashad Montgomery, Trent Harris, Graylin Reese, etc. And they also have a big offensive line, Brady Denny, Abram Morrow, etc. So Mount Zion, they need to wear down Greenville's front 7. Secondly, find balance with quarterback play. Knox Israel can contribute as a dual threat. So if they can keep Greenville honest through short passes to guys like Xavier Buckner or Keziah Aki, the run game will be even more effective. Thirdly, they got to control tempo with defense. Jaden Aki, Nolan Trueblood, guys like that. They got to lead that defense and contain Deering and force Kelly into tough passing downs. So if they can limit explosive plays, Mount Zion gains the edge. And then lastly, special teams and field position. In what projects as a grinded out matchup, flipping the field and finishing drives with points, even field goals, could be the difference. Now remember, Mount Zion's coming off of their first loss of the season. They just got a taste of losing. Yep. It wasn't very close either, on the road at Pike County. So now they're coming home for region. They're taking on a Greenville team. Greenville really hasn't played anybody all season long, so this is Greenville's biggest test of the year. So this is shaping up to be like a pretty good game here. Some more thoughts. Strength versus strength. Greenville's power run game meets Mount Zion's physical front, led by guys like Aki, Dallas, and Denny. So whoever wins the trenches war probably will win this game. Some playmakers to watch. Greenville has more big play potential with Jameer Smith and Zay Parks, while Mount Zion is built to pound the rock and play steady, mistake-free football. So a momentum factor here. Greenville has proven they can hang with quality opponents somewhat. But Mount Zion's depth at running back and offensive line could wear them down over 4 quarters. So with that being said, I have Mount Zion potentially clinching up the 4th seed with a 27-19 win at home, an 8-point victory.
Well, it's so fun about this week with Carrollton being on a bye week is that if Bowden's blowing out that game, I could go over to the Bremen Temple. I could go to Harrelson, Hurd County game. I could go to we got some games. So, yeah, I can go to the Mount Zion Greenville game.
Yeah.
They're all in the short region drive. So that's
and they're all at home.
They're all at home. All right. And then we finish it up, of course, with the Rica Wildcats.
Yes. And this is the other homecoming game. They're taking on a Lydia Springs team that Carrollton dominated earlier in the
Very
season,
smart.
63-0. This is the 18th meeting between the Wildcats and the Lions. Villa Rica leads this series 15-2 all time, so it's been all Villa Rica. Villa Rica did win last year 49-28. Lydia Springs, they have not beaten Villa Rica since 2022, but from 2004 to 2021, that marked a 17-year stint where Villa Rica did not lose to Lydia Springs. And this rivalry dates all the way back to 1988. So it's a pretty, I guess, historic rivalry, you could say. It's more historic than a lot of some other rivalries. Villa Rica coming off an impressive win against South Paulding to go up 2-0 in the region. So if Villa Rica wins this game, they go up 3-0 in region play, and they'll likely be tied for first with Rome, and which is actually Villa Rica's next game is Rome. So good luck for them. But we'll start off with Lydia Springs. Number 1, protect the freshman quarterback. Justin Stevenson, he's going to need some time to work, and that falls on the offensive line. Guys like Ryan Shelton and Keodrick Wright. So if Villa Rica's pass rush overwhelms them, turnovers could pile up. Secondly, feature the running back rotation. Caleb McMichael, D'Angelo Shell, Michael Miller Jr. Lydia Springs has a deep backfield. Establishing the run will open up shots to big wide receivers like Sean Williams and Kamari Frazier. Thirdly, they got to get some defensive pressure. Defensive end Trey Fulton and defensive end Braden Page. Those guys got to win up front. So if they can force Eubanks into mistakes or make Villa Rica one-dimensional, the Lions can swing momentum. And then lastly, they got to win some matchups on the perimeter. Wide receivers Sean Williams, Cameron Walden, and Kamari Frazier, they all have size and speed advantages. So I think if Stevenson connects with them on a few chunk plays, they'll actually have a chance to keep pace. For Villa Rica, number 1 is going to be to establish some offensive balance. Quarterback Matthew Eubanks, he had a great game against South Paulding, but so he's been running the show for Villa Rica, and so they're going to need to mix the pass and run. Getting contributions from running backs like Raekwon Flippin and Emmanuel Ajayi keeps Lydia Springs' defense off balance. Secondly, they got to win in the trenches. Offensive line anchors like Jarius Shivers and Aiden Daunt, who I talk about every week. Those guys got to control the line So while defenders like Tayshawn Thornton and Kamari Humes, those guys are going to need to disrupt Lydia's young quarterback. And Lydia Springs, they kind of run a 2-quarterback system, kind of. They actually have Derek Pittman III, who's a senior. He's only like 5'8", and he's more of like a wildcat kind of guy. He's going to run the ball most of the time. He's not really going to throw. And then you got Justin Stevenson, the big 6'2" freshman, who's going to come in there and he'll pass the ball. And I actually kind of like Justin Stevenson. Watching him play against Carrollton, I actually thought he'll be pretty good. And I think the problem with Lydia Springs isn't necessarily that they're playing like they're a bad team. I think they are a pretty decent team. They're just really young and they play against really tough opponents. I mean, playing in 5A is hard enough.
Right.
Thirdly, they got to have some athlete impact. Max Garfield and Emmanuel Jai, they can create mismatches offensively and in the return game. Villarica should find ways to get them touches in space. And then they got to limit some explosive plays. Lydia Springs does have athletic wide receivers and running backs who can score quickly. So Villarica's secondary, led by guys like Ty J. Martin, they got to prevent big downfield gains. Some additional thoughts: experience versus youth. Villarica has upperclassmen leaders across the board, while Lydia Springs, like I mentioned, is leaning on several underclassmen, including a freshman quarterback and 2 freshman running backs. Now, granted, the freshman quarterback 6'2", 195. The 2 freshman running backs are about 5'10", 200 both. So, I mean, these are big kids, even though they're young. But that gap in experience could show in high-pressure moments. We obviously saw that against Carrollton, which is a whole nother animal anyway, but we saw that. Trench battle is key. Both teams are strong on the lines, but Villarica's size may give them the edge. And then momentum swings matter. Lydia Springs has the playmakers to turn the game with 1 or 2 explosive plays, but Villarica's balance and discipline give them the advantage in a four-quarter fight. I think Villarica has, both of these teams, Villarica and Lydia Springs, they have surprised me here in region play. Lydia Springs obviously has a terrible record, but they've shown some fight that I didn't think that they would show against a lot of these teams, especially got teams like South Paulding. Villarica, obviously, they've been winning all their region games, so they're doing a lot better since they've gotten in region play than they were in non-region play. I still think Villarica wins this game. I do think it's going to be a lot closer than people expect. It definitely won't be 63-0. I actually only have Villarica winning by 10 points. Give me Villarica 31-21 at home for homecoming.
Well, and to those that are celebrating homecoming, we'll obviously have 2 schools that will be crowning a new king and queen. So maybe if we can get that information, we'll be sharing that if you're interested. And that should be a good time. Now, look, we've got a special guest interview. And just giving you a peek of that, that's Monday on the 29th. So you don't want to miss that show. We'll be posting that Monday. So tune into that one. This is a special guest interview that everybody's been anticipating that I've told about. And then, of course, follow us on social media at West GA Gridiron. That's on all platforms. And again, if you want to watch us, you can do that on the YouTube channel. And then comment so that others can find the show as well. Mason, hey, this is going to be a good one. We'll be on the road a couple days. We're going to be at the Central game, Jonesboro. We'll be over probably Bowden game, and then who knows. But there's some good ones. I love this time of the year. There is nothing like Football Fridays in West Georgia. So with that, y'all, tune in on the recap show, and we'll see you then.